Alright, here we are with 8.4 day 2. Here are the solutions for 8.1 day 1, converting between standard form and scientific notation. And then here is just some comparing numbers. Okay, so 8.4 day 2, you're going to be multiplying and dividing numbers in scientific notation. This is a little more tricky skill, I guess, compared to day 1, but very important nonetheless. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be seeing things that look like this, where you're multiplying two numbers that are in scientific notation, or dividing them, or raising them to a power. So what you're going to do is you can use a calculator for the first part. So what I got here is 8.5. You're going to take these two numbers and you're going to multiply them together. 8.5 times 1.7. And that gives us 14.45, and then you have 10 to the second times 10 to the sixth. Going back to, say, 8.1 when dealing with properties of exponents, that deals with 10.8. Now, how do I get from here to here? There's two ways of doing this. And now the reason, first of all, let me explain why we're doing this. This number 14 is too big. It's not between 1 and 10. So what we're going to do is we're going to write this number out in standard form, and then I'm going to convert it into scientific notation. So 1.445, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times 10 to the ninth. That's probably the easiest method for converting that number that's not in scientific notation into scientific notation. The other way of doing it is this here, 14.45 times 10 to the eighth. So if I divide this by 10, I can multiply this by 10. By dividing by 10 and multiplying by 10, you're not actually changing the number because you're just multiplying the number by 1. So it goes to 1.445, and then you have 10 to the eighth times 10 to the ninth, or 10 to the first is 10 to the ninth. So this way is a little bit quicker. It's a little more abstract, and it requires a deeper understanding of algebra, in my opinion. So here we're going to square a number. So we have 1.5 times 10 to the negative 3, and then 1.5 times 10 to the negative 3. All right, so 1.5 times 1.5, that's 2.25. And then I have 1 over 10 to the third times 1 over 10 to the third, which is 1 over 10 to the sixth power, or 10 to the negative sixth power. And that's how you do a problem like that, where you're taking you're squaring or raising a number in scientific notation to an exponent or to a power. Okay, here's a division one. 1.2 divided by 1.6 is 0.75, or 3/4. And then 10 to the fourth, and then I'm going to move this up to the top, so it's 10 to the positive 3, so that'd be 10 to the 7th. Now again, this number is not in scientific notation, so what I can do is I can multiply this number by 10, and then divide this number by 10. You're not changing the form of the number at all, or you're not changing the number, you're just changing how it looks. So 10 to the 7th divided by 10 to the first is 10 to the 6th. That's one way. The other way, of course, would be to convert it into standard form and then go back to scientific notation. All right, I'm going to grab a calculator for this one. So the 1.08 times 9.3, because I think that's going to be over 10. Yep, it's over 10. It's 10.044, and then I have 10 to the negative 3 times, 10 to the negative 3. That's 1 over 10 cubed times 1 over 10 cubed, which is 1 over 10 to the 6th, which is 10 to the negative 6. Okay, and then this number is too big, so I'm going to divide this by 10 and then multiply this by 10. So I have 1.0044 times 10 to the, so 10 to the first over 10 to the 6th is 1 over 10 to the 5th, which is 10 to the negative 5th. And so that's what that would look like there. This looks like a disaster. I'm going to box that there. Okay, Let's see. 8.1 times 2 is 16.2. And then 10 to the fourth, 10 to the negative fourth over, 1, let me say that again. 1 over 10 to the fourth times 1 over 10 to the first is 1 over 10 to the fifth, which is 10 to the negative fifth. Okay, and then 16 is too big, unfortunately, so we're going to multiply by 10, or divide by 10, multiply by 10, and I'm going to draw an arrow down here. That would be 1.62 times 10 to the negative fourth, if you were to simplify that up nicely. These problems are all basically the same, so I'm going to pick 1 or 2 more here of the challenging ones. Let's see. I'll do this one here. This one's a little bit better. I'm going to move this one to the bottom. So I have 5.4 divided by 3.4. And again, I'm just going to use a calculator for that. So that's 1 point, oh gosh, this is bad. This one is really, really interesting because it's a very long decimal. And how many places we should round to, I don't know. We'll go to the nearest thousands, I guess, because it actually is 1.588235529. So we'll go to the thousands for this problem. And then I have 1 over 10 to the first times 1 over 10 to the first, which is 1 over 10 to the second, which is 10 to the negative second. So times 10 to the negative second. This one's nice because the number's between 1 and 10. It's just it's annoying when the number's not between 1 and 10. And you have to switch it. Okay, and then I'm going to do this one right here. One more word problem. In 2002, we have that much pounds of cotton that were produced in California. The cotton planted on that many acres of land. What was the average number of pounds of cotton produced per acre? Round your answer to the nearest whole number. Okay, so this is how much was produced. How many pounds? This is how many acres. They want the average number of pounds per acre. So it's just a division problem. So it's 9.7 times 10 to the 8th divided by 6.9 times 10 to the 5th. Okay, so I'm going to do 9.7. This one should be a little bit easier for us. Divided by 6.9. And that gives me, again, a long decimal. So I'm going to round to the nearest thousandths here. And then 10 to the 8th over 10 to the 5th is 10 to the 3rd. There you go. All right. We're going to be working, we'll try to check out this video in class. We're going to be working on some word problems. There's a worksheet on Schoology. We're going to do 4 of each type, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. Thank you.